Yo. Yo, yo, yo. Yo. Sweet. And we live. Hopefully, this is now working properly and not going to shit as normal. How we doing? How we doing? Aye, it's actually happening now. Sick. Yo, what's up, everyone? Thanks for coming through. This is basically just going to be a deep dive on everything from di-sinter, which we dropped at the start of last month. Sorry, it's taking a little while to get around to it. I've got Yosef just on the next line, and we're going to go straight into that first. And we're just going to do a quick chat now and then I'll get to a longer Q&A later. But yeah, let's go in from here. Right, so much clicking. Yo. I think we're good.
Hell yeah.
Let's just see. I need to double check that everyone in chat can just hear everything okay, because otherwise this is just going to be mad awkward. I don't want me just talking to myself and looking like a knob. Just say something real quick.
Yo. Okay.
Is there any way you can turn yourself up at all on your settings? It's a bit quiet, G.
Yeah, let me check.
As you see, we're always prepared, always coming in hot and knowing what's up, even under the pressure of this.
Turn it up a bit. So.
Is that the best we got? Is everyone okay with that? He's just quiet. Yeah, I can't hear him. Fuck. Right, okay, hold on. I'll try boosting mind. Try again now.
Hey, can you hear me?
Try now.
Hey.
Is that coming through? I think that's going to be coming through now. Right, there we go. My dumbass. Right, sweet. So, everyone who's watching right now, this is producer, artist, music man, King Yosef. If you want to intro yourself and tell everyone what you do, smash on
Yeah.
in.
I mean, I feel like that was a great intro. I'm a producer and I'm a musician. So, uh, I produce for like a handful of artists and produce for some popular people at one point in time.
Who's your popular people? What's your projects you're most proud of and such, and you know your claims to fames or your personal favorites that you could rail off real quick.
I would say that probably the biggest thing, I don't know how many people are aware, but the Australian artist Johnny, most of her discography and more popular tracks are produced by me. It's kind of like been an ongoing branding and universe building that I've been doing with an artist for quite some time. And it's not like anything I hear or listen to, and it seems to be doing pretty well. So that
Sick,
would be my biggest one.
sick. I just got people saying, hold on, people saying being loud as fuck. Oh my god, getting the levels of this is impossible. But the looks of things, I think I might have started it now. But yeah, no, that's it. I remember you telling me about this and telling me about the people you produced originally, and I was just like, oh. I literally had no idea about it all because I just remember finding you through your solo stuff and that was it. So like throughout us two knowing each other, it's been a kind of funny story when all of a sudden you'll turn around and be like, oh yeah, I've produced, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny, and me just being
Yeah, I
completely
honestly
oblivious
prefer it
and
that
almost kind
way.
of ignorant for it. So I apologize on my end.
It's like cooler, you know what I mean? Because I feel like so much of like the timeline of me making music was like being so attached to other people's names that now I'm on like the other side of it where, like when people find out that like I produce for like Ski Mask or anything like that,
Yeah,
it's like a shock to them is like a big change of pace from like 3 years ago, where
Yeah.
that was like people did not care about my solo music, and it was the other
No,
way around.
dude,
So
that's the thing. It was a shock to me because I found you through, I think, was it Pity Case that it was?
I think so.
Yeah, I found you through that, and I was just like, in case anyone doesn't know or doesn't listen to Yosef's personal stuff, it's like, would you say industrial's the closest thing to it?
Yeah.
It was basically like kind of hard, heavy industrial music. And I started through that, and I was like, okay, this looks sick and this sounds sick. And then we just kind of got talking on a back and forth from there. And then later down the line, I found out that you did all this stuff. But yeah, it was kind of cool to me to find out you'd come from that world doing that. And now would you say you're now starting to transition into doing you way more and actually getting yourself out there as an artist versus?
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, it's definitely like I'm on the upswing of like, I mean, like I'm not gonna announce anything, but like the amount of things I have coming down the pipeline now that are just King Yosef things
Yeah.
is like far significant to any other year that I've ever had lined up. So
Yeah, no, for real. I mean, well, is it last year you dropped? It was last year, wasn't it? That you dropped the split with you code.
yeah, last
Dude,
March.
I'm
So,
losing I'm losing track of time, so I'm just like, it feels like the past 2 years has just been a massive warp of about 4 months.
what's funny is I just had to do the math on my like last releases because I was like, oh yeah, I dropped like a collaborative album like a couple months ago, and then I was like, oh no, that was March. Like that was almost a fucking year ago now.
Well, yeah, this is the thing. I had to give like my favorite release of a year in an interview recently, and I was just like for last year, and I was just like. I said that record, which is called, what's the long name one? I've literally forgotten it now. I'm gonna look such a dick because I just remember Head Underwater is like one of my favorite songs ever. Yeah, A Skeleton Key in the Doors of Depression.
Yeah, Sarah Taylor. That's the name of that album.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, like this was one of my favorite projects of last year for sure. I actually did
Appreciate that, man.
something different. When a lot of people were either not doing anything or just doing the same stale shit. So I was, not even just as your friend or anything, but like as just someone who actively liked your music. It was sick, and then it turned me on to Youth Code as well. So, definitely everyone in chat, check it out if you haven't listened to it already. So moving on to this track and this tune as such. Can you remember how this even came about? Because I can't, 'cause it was a long time ago.
Yeah, I feel like the biggest thing though is that you and I have been talking about collaborating for like basically since we started talking.
Yeah.
Like within the first like month of us talking, we were both like we should do songs with each other. And so it's been like, you know, off and on, I feel like you and I send each other a draft or something, and we're like, "Yo, you should get on this," and then we get hyped on it, and just like doesn't line up. Which
It's
is
like,
just like
it's like I bet, and then
of
you
the
go to
game.
sit down and record it, and you're like, oh, well, that kind of sucks. And it's been so many back and forth ones. Or you'd send me a song, and I'd be like, yeah, this is sick, and then something would just end up happening, or likewise with you, or you'd start working on something else, and it'd just get drawn out. And I remember,
Yeah,
I think, if I'm right remembering, we were in the studio doing this song, and I did the second verse of it, which is now your verse, and I was just like, this needs to be done by someone else because I just sound like an 8-year-old boy screaming this, and I was like, I just need someone who is who just sounds bigger than me because I just sound like a short ass all the time. So sent it across, and I think I literally said, "Yo, do this 3 takes." Send.
yeah. I mean, you were like, I think that was the coolest part though for me is like, normally when I like do a feature for someone, there's not like a structure as much, like, and I feel like kind of as a testament to like how Static Dress moves just in general, like, you didn't send it to me and just be like, fucking interpret this however you want, and I have no idea what I want. You know what I mean? You sent it to me and we're like, this is the part I hear. Like, I want you to do these sort of things. And like, it's funny too, because this feature took me longer than most other features that I have to do. But it was just because you had like described a type of voice that I use
Yeah.
so well that I was like, oh, I know exactly what he needs me to do. So
Yeah.
to get to that place and like nail every single take was like, I think I did 2 days because I was like,
Oh my god.
first day I pushed it too hard and I was like, oh, I'm about to blow my voice out and this shit's not going to be as cool as it should be.
Well, dude,
And then,
that's what I wanted. I wanted this voice of just absolute. You can feel the push and power from it, because that's what I feel like you as an artist, as a vocalist, as a singer, bring. And I was like, well, I can't do that because I'm like, So you push it as hard as you can and go for it. And then I remember I sent it to you, and I was just like, oh, it's only like, I think the part itself is like 16 to 20 seconds or something like that. So I was like,
yeah,
it'll get it in one, and then just send it over, and I'll make it work. And then when you didn't do it, and it was like a couple of days, or whatever, I was like, he's bailed or something. Or I was like, oh, here we go, it's happened again. Like he's just not gonna do it. And I was like, for fuck's sake.
I mean, the biggest part too for me tracking it is that like, because you're like such a more like, you're like a more staccato yeller, if that makes any sense. Like your scream and yell vocals are just like more of a technique based thing.
I
So
mean, they
you
might
can
sound
say
like they
way
are, but they're
more.
pretty not. They might
But
sound
I
like they
feel
are,
like
but
I
they're
should,
so not, bro. It's like, oh yeah,
dude,
technique, and I'm like, I know what to not, I know not, I know. Hold on, I know what not to do. I know not what. That's so hard to say. I know what to not do.
yes.
And then my brain just goes, oh, do you know what'd be really good if you did that? And I'm like, oh, sick. So I track it in a certain way, ruin myself, like you were saying, like blow your voice out. And then I'm like, oh yeah, it sounds great. And then I'll come to do it live and be like, now I've got to relearn how to do this and do it in a manner which isn't going to kill me.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, if you listen to like, my songs are like way more, like my words don't overlap very much.
No.
And a lot of it has to do with because of how much air I'm using. You know what I mean? Like, because when I yell, it's like super fucking loud and I'm blowing everything out. Like I'm going as hard as I possibly can. So like doing your lyrics to that part was so fucking hard for me because you have so many more lyrics in a short span.
It's dumb because I write it in the stages of like, okay, what do I want to say here? And I'm like, okay, I have 4 lines I want to say, and I'm like, right, how can I adjective these in to make it 2 lines, and then I'll trim it down, and I'm like, right, okay, now I got 3 lines, but those 3 lines are still like 40 syllables.
Yeah.
And it'll just absolutely ruin it. And like a big one for that was like when we did Safe Word in studio. I remember you even talking to me about this. We did it in studio, and I was like, oh, that's fine. And then I come to do it live, and I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, the chorus is literally just like all the way through.
I mean, I feel like that was like a definite learning curve in this song for me. It was just been like, Ollie's just genuinely a different type of vocalist than I am. You know what I mean?
I think honestly, like, I think you're smarter. You're a smarter vocalist than me because I'm just like, oh, that's like, and I think this song was a learning curve for me as well. It's just kind of like throw as much at it as possible, and then hopefully something will stick. Rather the way you write, where in a lot of your music, it's just it could almost just be single track all the way through. I don't know if it is single track all the way through sometimes, but like,
no, but
cheese.
It's supposed to sound like it.
How did you find it doing it live? Like you had, how long has it been since you played live? Because you did the shows with Dying Wish, right? Was it the release shows or?
Yeah,
let's talk about that.
2 headlining dates in October.
Okay.
I mean, it was like playing for the first time all over again because I played a show in Los Angeles probably 2 weeks before the shutdown, before everything completely shut back down.
Was that a headline or?
No, I was playing a showcase with a group, like a producer group I used to be a part of.
Okay.
And I was sick. Don't know what it was, but was sick for my last show. And it was just like this whole shit show, but like went and did it. And so then the next show that I ended up being able to play was this last October. So it was like a full, year and a half, 2 years since I'd played last.
Oh my
But
god.
yeah, it definitely felt like I got warmed back up into it like second night. First
Yeah.
night was a little much for me, but I also think I sit in like this kind of a strange in between where like, like I feel like my music is divisive to metal people.
Yeah, definitely, mate.
So
Definitely.
you like either get it or you don't, which is totally fine. But so playing with Dying Wish was sick. But I also think that like a lot of the people there were probably there to see a fucking metal band that has two guitar players and a bass player,
And
So they
out
might not
comes
have gotten it.
my man with his 808s.
Yeah, yeah. I remember at the Tacoma show of those 2 days, like my performance at the Tacoma show was great. I remember feeling so confident about it, but the crowd was absolutely dead. But they would all clap so extremely loud after every song, like
I
they were
mean,
amped on it,
that's
stoked, but
good.
like they wouldn't move.
So
But there was
I
a
think
point in the set
people
where I
need
was
to know
irritated.
things to move. Like people need to know what's coming in order to move a lot of the time.
Yeah,
Because it's like when we've gone and played shows over here, and it's like recently, it's like we did that tour Higher Power, and it's just like we go to play a heavy part or whatever, and like people just stand there and watch. And I realize this, and I'm like, yeah, if I went to see a band now and there was a hard as fuck part, I'm just gonna stand there and go, yo. I'm not gonna stand there and start throwing around because like our music stop start all the time, and yours is as well. So it could be going, and it just stops, and what you're gonna be doing, jumping in the middle of a room on your own, and it's
yeah,
just
totally.
silence.
Yeah, I was like frustrated, but at one point during the set, like in an intermission area, I remember saying out loud, I was like, I know you guys are like, we're not gonna mosh to some EDM drops, and there's no guitars up here, but thanks for bearing with me. And like
Oh
crickets.
God. Yo,
But
I
like I
couldn't
said,
say
there was like hella people
anything.
that came up with me. Yeah, a bunch of people came up after the show though, and were like super into it, and like kept listing off all these bands it sounded like and shit. So, people were into it. I think they just didn't understand how to react.
What's like your normal go tos of? Oh, you sound like A, B, and C. Who do you normally get?
Uh, I think that's the thing. It's like because of my old music,
Mm.
like where I'm like evolving from, people are like, "Oh, you sound like Scarlord," you know, or I
Uh,
get like, "You sound like metal band. You don't sound like it at all." You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
everything I get compared to is not. I feel like fully. I think that's the issue at hand is that people have a hard time finding exactly what I sound like. So I just get all sorts of weird shit all
I,
the time.
I mean, that's kind of good, Like
Yeah,
that. I think I'd much rather have that than just the same three bands on repeat, and it's like, no matter what you try, you can't get away from it, and it's like, But like, I don't know what I'd glue you to either. Like if I was just doing the whole like, oh, that was sick, man. It sounds like Ramstein. Like I don't know. I don't know where I glue you or where I put you because
yeah.
it's such a varied sound at the same time, and like the stuff you showed me, especially in what you're about to do, is
I
even
just
more so.
described it earlier today as taking 90s rock and metal music, updating it, and adding industrial.
Fair.
That's the best way I could describe my music as of right now. So, but it doesn't make sense until the context of what comes next comes out. So,
Yeah. No, fair play. So for this song, we also had you featuring in the video, obviously with us being in England and you being in Portland.
yep.
We had a bit of a problem of being like, how are we going to get you in the video? So to do this, I basically asked Yosef if he could film himself on a camera very much like how I'm doing now, just light it and do one take through. I kind of wish I preloaded the clips because there was so so much funny shit in them where you were like dancing or like coming on and doing like this shit and stuff. Oh my god.
Yeah.
So
I
good.
feel like that's how you know I trust you. This is because
Yeah.
there's literally nobody else in the world I would send raw footage to like that.
And I remember there was there's like a jazz drummer in the background, and I'm like trying to find the timing of the song before your part hits, and I'm like, all I can hear is like, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, every
Sorry,
single
chat,
time
I'm
I would
allowed.
try to start recording my takes for this video, there was a drummer in the practice space next to me who would start playing as soon as I started playing the song. Every single time. And it went on for fucking 45 minutes. And it was like this overall filming this, should probably take me about an hour doing takes. And it took me like 2.5 just because this guy kept playing at the exact time that I tried to record.
I mean, what I found hilarious was so when I was looking through the footage, it started off like basically you'd come in and you'd be super serious, right? And by the end of it, you're literally coming in like, I don't know, like the worst shit in the world, just like doing all this and I was like, I can tell you started this trying so hard and it's just deteriorated over time and you so are done with it at this point.
I feel like too, it was like, it's, for me, video is like a new medium that I'm trying to understand and learn.
Yeah.
And so I think it's like coming into where I'm like entering the static dress universe is it's like so hard to be like, I'm doing this sick ass video performance because it's like your guys' videos are sick. So I need to be cool enough to be like fitting in. And so by the end of it, every single time I would just be fucking laughing. Like I was just like, this is so ridiculous.
I get you. I can't take it serious. Like sometimes someone will start cracking something and I'm like, I can't breathe. Like I have to stand there and like, just be in character and be things because you got to get the shot and that. And sometimes it'll just destroy me, man. And it's like the worst time. But so once I received Yosef's footage, I proceeded to kind of come up with some certain way to incorporate it and make it gel together. One of these things was the obvious of just what we normally do is send it through CRT monitor, and that was a nice blend and did like that. And then the second idea was to run it like one of the early Alice in Chains videos. I cannot remember it for the life of me, but it's a sequence where the face is projected onto a muddy puddle and it's hit with a hammer. If someone in chat knows what that is, please just send it because I ain't got a clue and I feel really bad. And I wanted to do the same thing, so I projected it onto water, and within the water there was a bin bag, and what we would do is we would tear through this bin bag as it was projecting onto the water, which is why it just looks so like distorted and horrible. And fun story when this was happening, this was literally the day off, I think it was a day off from tour. Was it a day off from tour? Yeah, it was the day off of the Creeper tour. And we're filming at my house. We film all these sequences, and I'm like, right, cool. And it's like we're all feeling like ill at this point. Like we're feeling ill. Like we've been on the road for 3 days, like not even long. And everyone's like, I'm just tired. I'm exhausted. Anyway, we go back to base, and it's time to do the COVID test to set off the next day. And then I do a test, and I'm just like, I see there's another line on here that isn't normally on here. So I'm gonna just ignore this one for now, and then I do another one, and it was like, dude, the second test was such a hard line that it was black, not red, and I'm like, yeah, this is bad. And then
this shit, motherfucker.
Yeah, I was like, because the first one I was like, it could be a fluke. Let me just like manifest it being a fluke. Happy days, And then I did again, and I was like, yeah, there's no chance in that. And then proceeded the next days to just be the most ill I have ever been in my life. I remember messaging you halfway through, but I was like, I ain't good. Like my breathing got really, really bad. And I've realized, have you had COVID yet?
No, so it's kind of a like ongoing joke in my like friend group over here.
It ain't no joke.
Because my drummer got it and then gave it to my girlfriend who I live with.
Oh my gosh.
And then she obviously tested positive when we were living in the same house. And I never got it. And then my like synth player who lives with my drummer also never got it. But then after this, every single person in our friend group was just like falling victim to COVID. And my friend Cameron and I just literally never got it. Kept testing, still haven't gotten it.
I feel like some people are just lucky with it. It's like Connor didn't end up catching it.
We keep joking though because Cameron and I are both French. or like it has something to do with being French and eating snails or something.
What the fuck? I mean, yeah, if that's a cure for it, go for it. But like, I remember there was like Connor and our driver. We were all in the same van, and everyone else in the van caught it apart from them two. And it's just like, I think it just honestly is, sometimes it's just luck, you know. Like it's
Yeah, I agree.
it really can just be that. But yeah, real quick chat. If you've got any questions for Yosef, please send in, and we'll just go through them really
Somebody
quick.
says it's them bones for the video.
Oh, them bones, right? Yeah, them bones. Alice in Chains. The shots where it's projecting onto puddles, the smashing the puddles, and I wanted to do something like that. We were going to end up reshooting it, and this is the funny thing. We're literally at a family house. And it's like, none of us realize we even have COVID, and we're there shooting this stuff, and then we go back to the base at night, and it's like, yeah, you've got COVID, and it was like, we've just been in family home, like, yeah, man, shooting all that stuff. So yeah, you watching this, test regularly, because it's pretty dangerous. Like I haven't recovered from it, you know, like I
Yeah,
got
I mean,
it.
like the long-term effects are fucked.
Yeah, I got it, and my like capacity to be able to breathe now is just fucked. Like
Yeah.
it's so bad. How does he know Frank Iero? You know Frank Iero? What the fuck? This is what I mean. I'm like, what?
I mean, we just have a bunch of mutual friends. I've never spoken to him, but he's shared music that I've worked on or I've been a part of. And so it kind of like, you know, after a while, he just started following me on Instagram. I obviously know who he is. So I was like, you know.
Would the
But
collab ever happen with you and him?
yeah, I'd be down to do that.
What would you try and make? What do you reckon FFO would be?
Oh man, I don't know. I feel like the hard part for me is that it's like I'm not limited, obviously, but I definitely am like it's either going to be like shoegaze related, industrial related, witch house related, or metal related. Like those are the four things
Industrial
that I'm like.
shoegaze.
That's what I really would love to work on, actually.
That would be it. You got another one in here. How does Yosef make his music slap so hard? I know the answer to this because we've even joked about it before.
I mean, yeah, you. What's yours? What do you think I'd do?
All
what
you
did I
do,
say?
you pull up something, you go, this sounds alright, then just proceeds to throw on as much distortion as possible. Maybe then EQ it a little bit, then maybe put some reverb on it, and then some more distortion on the end just to kind of top it off a bit.
I feel like there's like an ongoing joke between one of me and my good friends, but he was watching me mix the Youth Code record,
Oh yeah.
and he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm starting to think all you do is just like put reverb on something, distort the reverb, and then put reverb on the distorted reverb." And I was like, I mean, yeah, more or less. But I think the biggest thing for me is knowing where things fit in a space. Because I'm not in a band, I don't have to be like, well, the drums take up this space, the bass takes up this space. Whereas much as like a normal band has to kind of abide by these rules of just like the sonic space that instruments just take up.
Yeah.
So for me, I can be like, you know, the 808 is my bass guitar. And I'm like, fucking, I'm going to blow out the low end as much as I want. And there's not going to be low end in anything else other than the kick drum and the 808 or like so on and so forth. So
it just allows you to have a better kind of a different approach to mixing and a different approach to music in general, because half of your band, it's kind of like a cyborg of a band.
Yeah.
You know, like you can pick and choose what you want. I mean, I know we do that to an extent, but like you do it in terms of like the presence, you know?
Yeah, I don't have to have like, if I decide that there's no guitar in the song, or there's never a requirement to what has to happen in King Yosef. Whereas like, you know, with the band, there's like, you got to have a drums, like, or fucking guitar, you know what I mean? So I don't have any of that. So whatever makes it feel the most impactful and like, I guess damning, you know what I mean? Like, just like undeniable and very like poignant, like to the point, that's what I decide to do. So
Fair.
and
I
flip
got
the
what
mix.
I got one saying. What does your shirt say? What shirt you got on?
Corpse File,
What are you
Texas
wearing?
death metal.
Oh, Texas death metal, of course. Nice and
Yeah, Corpse File.
nice and polite. What else we got? What else we got? Come on, guys. Thoughts on what is this? Thoughts on the characteristics of different versions of the Celestian Vintage 30. That is such a specific question for someone who has not had much sleep. Good. Very good. Name 3 songs of anyone.
Name 3 songs.
I don't know. I'm just reading this. There's so much spam coming through. What else we got? Come on, guys. I need questions.
Somebody said, how did Static and Yosef come to work together?
Literally through me just annoying you and giving you harassing messages over the internet and over DMs constantly.
Yeah, I mean that's really just us chatting.
Definitely not. I would just basically be giving you shit over iMessage, and then it actually ended up happening one day.
Ollie would be like, I'm gonna make you eat beans and toast if you don't fucking do this feature.
Bro, you fucking sent me ranch sauce, and I've got through 1 bottle of it so far, and I've run out of things that it tastes good with. I'm eating it, and I'm like, this is the worst. Like, how can you put this on everything? Like, it's fine. I'm like, this tastes nice. I'll put it on some chips, and I'm like, this is all right. And then I put it on some pizza, and I'm like, this is also all right. And then I'm like, right, I don't want to eat
that's really all you gotta do.
How much? It's like 4 liters of sauce.
I did buy you like the biggest bottles too.
Literally, they arrived, and I was just like, what the fuck is this? Inspiration behind di-sinter. Also, how did you come up with the name? Di-sinter is the process of decomposition underground, and then there's I was looking at a lot of, I can't even remember what type of calligraphy it was at the time, and just the separation of the words and the balance between the D and the T being a capital just looked nicer in my head, and so we sent it. How is it approaching a vocal part as a feature differ from original songs?
I mean, really, for me, like, I have a producer brain when it comes to anything I do that like comes to working with other people. So even if I am using my voice versus like creating an instrumental with somebody in mind, my goal is to I'm serving the purpose, you know what I mean, of like what this needs. So whereas I might be experimental in my own songs, or like I'm like, oh, I'm gonna fucking do something where it's like an oscillating vocal part left and right, you know what I mean, or like something like that. I'm not going to do those things. Like my goal is like you had a slated requirement basically of like your idea, so my job is to give you as much content as I possibly can to give you the room to experiment, you know. So
fair. I mean, I'm nervous for the first time I'm going to do something like I'm genuinely at the point where I'm like, I'm not good enough to do it yet. You know, like I feel like we haven't done enough for me to be able to warrant being on someone's song without like it just being, oh, you know, it's just whatever. Like I want it to be like, I want to be able to bring something to someone rather than just be a feature. You know, like I want to,
no, totally.
I want to be able to bring way more. I'm just reading through some more stuff. I think chat's just flying, but I think I'm gonna move on to video stuff. If you want to stick around and do the first watch through, Yosef, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, I'll do it. Then I'll hop off.
Right, safe. Right, so I'm gonna start jumping through the video now. We're gonna do one watch through, say bye to Yosef, and then we'll proceed to do a full watch through, and I'll start going through any questions that anyone has and a full breakdown of the video. This is where it just doesn't work, and I'm like, yeah, thanks, man. Oh, right. Yeah, quick disclaimer. Photosensitivity, epilepsy, everything like that. Just be safe, be careful, please. Or avert your gaze. Thank you. Good night. So yeah, that's that. Yosef, I want to thank you for your time and everything like that. If you want to plug yourself now, go ahead.
Shit, I ain't got nothing to plug.
He's got nothing to plug yet, but just go listen to all of his stuff. It's King Yosef on everything, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Wait like 2 weeks.
Wait like 2 weeks. I bet.
It'd be hilarious if I was like, wow, this video is so crazy. It's the first time watching it.
Fuck's sake. Alright, awesome, man. Thank you for coming through.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Later, man.
Peace. Right, and that's that. So what we'll do now is we'll start breaking this down and going through each element that you guys want to know about, want to go through, want to deep dive on, and yeah, we'll just take it from there basically. So, first things first, going into this. This is like a simple shot, opening up with all this water stuff. This was, yeah, all this water stuff was shot, like I mentioned before. On the time off between the creeper run, we had to get water in this like big vat. I wish I had the BTS from it, but yeah, because I wanted to kind of tie in the water and stuff that we'd used from other videos before, and kind of give a feeling of like familiarity to our previous stuff. Let me just see what chat's saying. I haven't checked in a minute. What was your inspiration for that melody, the chorus? That came before any of the music did. Originally it was going to be something way more straightforward, and then we wrote something kind of way crazier underneath. What practical effects do you use before Premiere Pro? Important one, I try to make everything practical. All of the makeup and everything like that which was used was practical effects. There was no special effects in this one at all. If we want to make something look a certain way, we'll actually go in and either use obscures or something like that to really kind of drive home the authenticity of everything rather than relying on green screen or like CG and stuff. So, you know, would love to know how you come up with some of the outfits and looks. A lot of scrapbooking, or like mental scrapbooking, or like digital mood boards and stuff like that, and kind of just sourcing from all over. Honestly, I think styling each one is the hardest thing, because it's like, okay, as soon as I'm set, I got 3 or 4 more people to do, and it's like, ugh, like that's where the headache comes in. Do you use eyeshadow, or are you depressed? Both. What makeup brands do you recommend? Soul Sister Cosmetics. They're local to me, and they're really good. So diving in further from here. So we open up with this water sequence. Like I said, it's shot before, some familiarity in there. And there we have the hand draw out of our character, which we'll be leading on to later, and they've appeared in other things before. So, as you witness here, we're doing the stereotypical thing that we always kind of do and fall back on, of having the CRT. This originally started off as a practical thing, as due to the first video we did just looked not good, until we ended up sending it through a TV and it looked way better. And then following on from that, it just kind of became a consistent theme with this band. I kind of scoped in on it more this time around, because I watch a lot of The Simpsons and such, and when they do the TV broadcast specials and such like that, they have the framing around, and I really like the idea of we're watching someone watch the TV. This will be able to span us onto stories later, which will unfold, but it adds an element of depth and perception, which is why in this video we have like 3 different layers of perception and depth. I think it's something that's kind of really strong with filmmaking and with cinematography and such, is making sure you carry your depth forward when you're composing your piece, and making sure not to only keep it linear unless that's what you want. I'm not sure if that's even the right way of saying it, but you know, you kind of get the idea with it. Also, kind of driving on from here, you notice how in these scenes I wanted to keep it so there's no lines on any of the walls yet, and I really wanted to like start adding them progressively. Like you saw that effect that kind of came in there. That's probably one of the only VFX I've done, and that's just a big case of like inversion. It's just where you hold it out and you invert all colours on certain lines, and I wanted to kind of have that strong geometric presence within this one, because we've had it in our other videos and such, I just wanted to drive it through in this one as well. So obviously they appear there. So this sequence here, this is a really cool one. We had a piece of, it's like clear corrugated plastic, which you'd put on greenhouses or like outside buildings, and passing that by the lens, the contour of it, enabled us to get this kind of like passing of light, this like rippling kind of effect going on. So we did a bunch of takes of that. I kind of wish we used that more now looking back at this, because it really gives a look that, you know, it's kind of unique to this. Yeah, so once again, using inversion and going through there. When doing shots like these, like the shots that are through the blue monitors, I tend to want to use harsher light. So when you're using a harsher light, that means we're not using like a softbox like this. Like if I was to take this off, it's like a way brighter light and it isn't controlled in any way, and it can blur things out way more. Normally a very unattractive kind of lighting. You normally want something like this, which is softer and just kind of looks nicer, but for that kind of thing you need it to pop way harder off the monitor. So that's what we do from there. And then like on this monitor, you can see we've got a stronger bevel around the edge here. This is on, I think it's like a later model. It's called like a, look at it somewhere. No, it's not this room. It's called a tube cube. It's like a multi kind of TV. It's got like a tape deck in the side of it. It's a radio and a television in one. At the time, I'm sure it blew minds, but the frequency band that this puts out at is actually a really good frame rate. And if you don't know what that means, that's basically I can shoot in a style that looks more chaotic because the TV is recycling the frames faster, allowing it to have this certain kind of vibe that the other TVs don't have. Also, once again, I'll mention it, the bevel on this TV is just really nice and smooth. So transitioning into this TV, I did like a pull-out shot, as we just saw a couple of seconds ago, and it pulls out to show this new dimension of filming. So in the shot, I pulled out, and then in the actual frame of the thing, it pulled out as well. What's really fun about this is that there's certain frames in here that I hate because it looks like I've used like a Unishake emulator and such, and that's just not the case. I was just reframing, but the reframing was so staggered that it made the piece carry a certain energy to it that just ended up staying in. I'm just gonna check chat real quick. Hold on. Yo, what is going on? Never noticed there were different types of TVs till now. Yeah, man. How do you build the sets? So, they're normally roughly all the same, but each one can differ. But this one I built using like a C kind of shape. So you get MDF boards that are about, I think about 8 feet high as such. And then you'll need to get some supports, some different wood like that, and you'll need to create frames or like an A-frame around each thing. So you'd have your main piece, your wall, you'd be performing on this side, this would be the wall behind it, and you'd have a support lean against like that, and then a connecting support at the bottom, so this set isn't going to fall and move. Sometimes it's easier to decorate it whilst it's flat, so you do that, and then you build like we've done before, like the Sober video was done like that as well. Or you could just build it all up, have it all set up and ready, and just kind of build from there. I appreciate your ability to avoid the shit posting. What? Yeah, start it from the stairs. This is very cool to see. Yo, hope you're well, bruv. Lo-fi vibes all the way. Yeah, for real. I mean, I'd love to have high budget and be able to do things, you know, properly. I think with the next piece we're doing, I'm trying to push that more, but you know, it's it's just 4 people right now just doing it. Like there's no budget behind anything. So like this exists because of pretty much everyone watching this right now. So but thanks, like, you know, that's all I can say. So maybe not lo-fi forever, but lo-fi for now for sure. Have you heard the Doom 2016 game soundtrack? Yeah, it's sick. Oh, I didn't even notice stripes on the wall. Yeah. What does burn rope for company? Oh, rope burn for company. The line is referring to like rope burn. The premise of this verse and this song is about the Purity Night case, which is the same thing which Purity was written about, and it's about someone being kidnapped and such. And I thought to myself about being like the scene of someone being kidnapped and then being wrapped up in the back of a car. So in America it'd be a trunk, over here it'd be a boot. And it's rope burn for company, you know, because there's rope burn from that. Moving on from here, let's see if we go to anything else cool. Yeah, once again, just there was that effect, that corrugated that I've talked about before. Water to tie it in. I wanted something. Ooh, sorry. Water again to tie it in. I wanted something calm, to kind of slow down the pace. As this song, I think, in terms of pacing, it goes from like up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down so much. It needs like a visual aid to kind of guide it, and that's something which I feel like good music videos have. Is when it's the hectic parts, you have a lot of hectic moments, you have a lot of hectic shooting. When it's the calmer parts, we visually guide that in, whether it be a complete vibe switch up, whether it be a completely different like angle or something like that. There's just something to show a new, what's the word, a new kind of sequence, I guess is the best way of saying it. Quick one, going back here. So this shot, so this the person in this is my good friend Angus, and they covered themselves in household, like, not good for you paint, like the household stuff like that. Like all this makeup they did was so just like insane. Like I was watching them get ready and I was like, as if you're just gonna put that on yourself. Like it looks like corrosive to their skin. Like it was wild. It was really wild. So props to them for doing that. Big up Angus if you're watching. Absolute legend. But yeah, and even stuff with the props and going into the eye and such in that one shot, it's all real. And what's really funny is there was one moment where that happened and I actually gipped and they started crying. Anyway. So that sequence back there, where we have our kind of create a character, making things on nature level. This reflective surface I wanted to add, you know, once again, adding a new scene, adding a new dynamic, adding a new kind of flair to a video and showing stuff that's out of this world, you know. All the props and such were designed by Angus. Once again, one of the best people I've ever had the opportunity to work with. They were also the same person who was in the Draculides video that I shot for Salem last year. So that's how I got to know them, and yeah, good times. Yeah, that's it. Drawing in there the shot of him doing that. Let me just see some more comments going in. Sorry guys, I'm trying to keep up with these. I just can't. You make all the costume stuff. Yeah, more than likely. Sometimes we're like ripping stuff up and actually making the pieces that we're wearing. Do you still have all your fingers? Yes. Is there any improvisation? Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Like, I feel like with filmmaking and everything like that, I kind of plan for a certain amount. Anything else is just kind of overspill. So we'd have a set schedule of what we want to get. Sometimes these are unreal expectations, and sometimes these are very simple things. But on the fly, sometimes things can happen, and it's like, right, gold, and you end up getting what you want there. But a lot of the time, there's a lot of big things and big concepts in these earlier videos, especially where we just couldn't make them work, unfortunately. But yeah, normally stick to a schedule, and then anything that happens on the fly, just let it slide. Also, big shout out Tom Berridge, actually. He was camera operating for a couple of the wide shots and such. I mean, even though I know it's just tripod work, but like it's still like credit where it's due, it's deserved, you know. He was very helpful throughout the day and stuff like that. So big up Tom Berridge. Tom Berridge, if you're watching. Yep. No. 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 So, rolling into Yosef's part here. This is where we have all the projector sequences. I kind of wish that I dialed back some of the distortion. I feel like I went in a bit too far at some points, but you can see it on the water. As it went into the water, it didn't do as much as I'd want to do. So we put a bin bag underneath it and would scrunch that to add this like extra bit of texture to everything. I think we shot this in about 5 takes because we were all just really ill, and turns out we have COVID. So that's why we're ill. Are you two different characters? Tom is definitely one of my favorite photographers too. Yeah, big up Tom. I think his @ on Instagram is still tv.berry if anyone wants to go check his work out. His sound. Just gonna carry on from here, guys, and we'll get through it. Quick one, just backing up real quick. That shot of where Yosef enters frame, that was done with the projector. Ooh, that was done with the projector going onto the wall. So we'd angle it, aim at a wall, and I'd have a mirror set up as well on a cabinet, and he'd swing in and do that, and that's what caused that big wave and that horrible kind of shape to come in. Just added like more kind of texture to an already kind of texture overload. You also will see throughout this video there's certain sequences which invert. These are just to accentuate a harmonic or an impact or something like that, just to give it more of a twist and more of a more of an impact, really. Yeah, so when you have these frames kind of going on, and it's like skipping, that's me in the back changing a frame rate of the old TV. So LED TVs now, I'm like, you know, like the things which you'd be watching this on or such like that, I don't think they work in quite the same way. But with these old TVs, they have like the frame selector on the back of how much you can adjust the speed. And here, what I'd be doing is I'd be grabbing the dial on the back and throwing it from one side to the other, and it would just be making all this horrible distortion. And I'd finish an edit of the video and get it to like the final cut, and then I'd do about seven or eight passes of just sending it through, which would be like another day and a half of just like getting that shot. But I feel like it adds, like, every layer that you can add to your filmmaking just like just do. You know, the more texture, the better. The more depth, the better. Once again, going into this section now, it's like a new breath, and wanted to add some more storyline, wanted to add some more things here, and just kind of push it. Also, focusing way more on colour at this point as well, and really driving home those blues more than anything. And then we have this build-up kind of section, and I don't know if you saw that one shot back there where it was pulling in. It's once again using that depth to kind of guide something and create more visual atmosphere, you know, and kind of suspense and drama building up. It's all like digital pan. It's not like a real zoom. Like I do it in post. And I feel like that shot there really complements it, because we have this section which is these few bars which really open up the song, and we have Angus themselves like pulling their arms open, which allows us to breathe way more, which is nice. And yeah, that's basically that. That last shot, which was just up there then, let me just see if I can get back to that, sorry. That was shot through like one of these obscuras that I've mentioned before. And it kind of like distorts the image and can warp it and such. It's a lot of stuff which was used really early, 9 Inch Nails kind of thing. Of just having a lens in front of another lens, and it would just shake it around a lot. But yeah, that's kind of the breakdown of that. If there's any questions, I'll start heading through them. But you know, thanks for everyone sticking around so far. Does your mum put on your nail paint every day, or do you do it yourself? I get acrylics, so I don't need to do that. I'm fine, you know, doing that on my ones. Guitar effect on that part. I think if you mean in the connected part between that and the chorus, it'd just be a trem or like shimmer. Drain Gang forever, let's go. Sorry guys, I'm just going through all this now. Do you play any instruments yourself? Yeah, I play drums, and I suck at guitar, but I basically make guitar noises. And once I play guitar. Don't have a question, but what you're doing is absolutely insane. I can't wait for everything else you release. Thank you so much. How do you come up with the idea for music vids? I've been planning it for a very long time, and basically working as much as I can, and not really having a life in order to get it done, really. I'm just going to show you guys real quick. I got some behind the scenes from Tom Berridge himself. Just have a go through these real quick. So with these photos, I don't know how good of a quality. Wow, they are coming through terribly. But these are just some actual photos of the behind the scenes stuff that we did. So obviously, as you can see, I've talked about already, these two insanely, stupidly concave walls, which help us kind of create this sort of thing. and these like repeating patterns that they've got going on, and like I really want to focus on perspective with this one more than anything. Like with our other pieces where everything's kind of been kind of flat, like I wanted to show depth, and I felt like we kind of did with this one. Like I felt like it really worked. How was the process of you learning to scream and getting it right and being comfortable? I get this one a lot, but like with screaming, it was kind of I've got to learn to do it. So it was like I'm still not good at it. I'm still learning, but getting it right, it's just I think it's more about not getting it wrong, you know, because you get it wrong, then you're screwed. But any spare tickets for funeral for a friend at Top Birmingham? I know they're back on sale. I don't think they're sold out yet. Looks like a Game Boy camera. I don't know if anyone's seen that Game Boy camera, but I proper want one. It looks crazy. Where did the idea for the characters come from? What is the inspiration for the story? If any of you guys have ever watched The Cell or played really, really old games like Abe's Odyssey and such like that, like if you watch the cutscenes of those games or played like Underworld or seen Underworld, that's kind of where everything for me stems from, is like that kind of realm of stuff, because that's when I was very, very young and I'd see stuff on TV or I'd see other people playing on these games, and the cutscenes would just scare me so much that I wouldn't be able to go in the front room. And it was kind of revisiting that fear which gave me interest. And I don't know, I felt like the fear of all this stuff just kind of really made me obsessed with it. So yeah, it was cool. Abe's Odyssey is my favorite game of all time. Yeah, so good. Silent Hill. Yeah, I'll be real with you. I enjoy all the things of Silent Hill a lot more than the actual game. Like it's really weird. Like I find the art and everything behind it so interesting, but playing the game, I just like it doesn't do nowhere near as much as everything else does for me. So I love the game, but not playing it. I don't know why. That's only that. Are you an FNAF fan? FNAF. I don't know who that is, bro. You're gonna have to be PS4 make you scream. Nah, it was PS1, bro. The design and sound is the best part of Silent Hill. Yeah, I agree with you that if you enjoy the soundscape of that, and I mean I'm pretty sure everyone in this chat will know, but Loath's first full length, Cold Sun, took a lot from that. So like when that rolled around, I was really into that because that was really, really sick. Who's your favorite vocalist outside of metal? Lil Richard. I think they made Five Nights at Freddy's. Oh, is that a thing still? I didn't realize that was still a thing. How much drumming do you still do these days? I've got Sam Ogden now, so I don't need to do any anymore. As sad as that is, I play his kit, and he's about a foot and a bit bigger than me. So I'm playing, and I'm like, "Hi everyone," you know. And it's just impossible to have any fun. Like we've run the set a few times, and it's just absolutely ripped my arms to shreds. Can you say ravioli? Sorry guys, I'm just reading all this. Noticed that download you used some vocal pedals. Could you go through what you use? Probably later. Not just yet. I'm not like perfected anything yet that I'm happy with. So until I understand everything that I'm doing, I'll leave it for another day. But appreciate it. Have you ever visited Static Dress Discord? A few times I've been shown stuff in there, but it's that hectic that I kind of just don't go in it. Like there's so much stuff, and it's like I get sent stuff by people in our team who are in it, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, but I just tend to stay out of it and just let people enjoy rather than like getting an idea in my head and like then catering everything we do to go around someone else's idea. I'd rather just let it happen, and if people want to dive in from our team and want to look at it, then that's on them, but I want to focus on what it is. And if people start working it out, then I'm like, cool. Like, they'll come up to me and be like, oh, I worked out this, and I'm like, sick, you know. But I'd rather not be amongst people and kind of not ruining the fun, but like, you know, just being among it, really. I'd rather people just leave people to it and let them have fun on their own. Can you get on the lineup of 2000 trees? I'd love to, but I just don't think it's gonna happen this year, unfortunately. Don't know why that stopped. Can't see that coming through anymore. Going on from here, you can just see this is me shooting Sam's sequences. Up top, I can't even remember what light we're using, but I keep going back to these ring lights all the time because they're just good. So if any actual photographer people and such are watching, just hard light, like this is all hard lit, none of this is soft lit, and you can tell because the shadows are extremely strong and everything is just contrasted really, really hard. Shot from Tom Bridge there. Shot like 8mm through the old peephole kind of thing, you know. You can share that from there. I don't know why. Is chat stopped for everyone else? Or is it just stopped for me? Is chat working? Someone let me know. Please. Let's just see what else we got in here real quick. Oh, right. So moving on from here, this was one of the original boards that I used for inspo on kind of coloring, because I actually wanted to do the whole video inverted at first, like the whole thing just back and forth, and then it'd be like an invert and we'd reveal something. But I kind of got obsessed with the inversion thing. Like this just for some kind of perspective on timeline, this video was shot in July? Yeah, this video was shot in July, so it was not that long after Sweet had come out we started shooting this. So the idea had a lot of time to change and kind of move around. I think chat's just frozen for me. I'm just going to refresh it on this side. 1 second. I'll just be talking to myself and the streams just stop. It'd be so funny. Welcome to the chat room. Oh no, we're going again. You look like the emo kid. You look like the emo kid, the main female character in a Nickelodeon show has a crush on. Thanks. I mean, depends on the show. What show would it be? Do you still take on video projects with other bands? So right now I kind of can't. Like, it's I have to really kind of pick and choose for this year. Like later in the year, I am, and there's been a few opportunities that are like I just love to do, but with just the timeline of everything going on with us this year, I kind of can't now. It's like we're sending out all the merch ourselves, we're doing all our own promo, everything like that. I understand why people get on a label, because you don't have to do a lot of this and you can have a normal life at the same time. But, you know, like, it's the opportunities will come back around. I just want to give the people who enjoy this something of full quality. But yeah, that's basically that. And I think that's like the last photo I've kind of got in this sequence that kind of wraps this up. But yeah, thanks for sticking around. Been going for like an hour 15. You know, like I do appreciate it. It's been a bit of a touch and go scenario, so thank you for coming in. I kind of enjoyed this. Let me know if you want one of these in the future, or like for the rest of the videos, because I was actually meant to do one of these a while back for the whole thing, and it all just went terrible. But now I've got new setup and everything sorted, so I'll probably sit down and do one of these again soon. But yeah, thank you for coming through. Really appreciate it. And yeah, if you've got any questions now, just send them. This keeps freezing for me, so I'll try just to do some that I can see. Not gonna lie, I'm so impressed with the amount of effort you put into a band. Thank you. Can't wait to see you next Saturday in Leeds. I can't wait to see you there either. That tour is gonna be sick. Yeah, if you don't know, we're touring with Not Loose next week and Terror, and that's insane, genuinely insane. I could literally cry. I could literally cry. Like, to get that as a tour is it is ridiculous. See you in Cardiff. See you a lot in London. Look forward to it. Yeah, if you're in here, you know, I really appreciate it. Like, we all do. We appreciate all your love and stuff. But yeah, thanks for coming through, and we'll see you in a bit.